How's it going, guys? We are back for another episode here of the NFL Cymru Podcast. We are approaching, if not slap bang, on midway through the season, Guto. Um, Absolutely crazy to think, obviously, um, by the time you turn around, the majority, if not, well, like we've already said, half for the NFL season, the regular season anyway, is behind us, and we're looking towards when quite a lot of teams are on buys. They would make midweek buys. We've just finished off our UK international games, and now we're about to have, well, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have another game in Germany and in Spain coming up as well. So, no clear runaways in either the NFC or the AFC. There's one massive surprise, which is obviously the Indianapolis Colts having the best record in the AFC, which makes me feel a little bit better how the Dolphins got absolutely demolished in week one, knowing that the Indianapolis Colts are a genuinely, they're a decent team and a well-coached team. However, is that going to prevail in the playoffs? Or, I mean, are they even going to play? Are they even going to reach the playoffs? Because there's still, like I said, another half of the season to go. Guto, where are we going to start off this evening? I mean, there's only one way, because obviously we teased at the end of last week's episode, that it was the NFL Cymru Bowl. It was my Dolphins against your Falcons. In all honesty, the Dolphins going into this were 1-6, and I was not going to watch this game at all because I had nothing on this. I had no attachment. However, unfortunately, I obviously my heart kind of took over, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I might as well watch." So we're just going to cut this short because it was probably one of the most shocking results of week eight.
Hmm.
The Dolphins actually being able to score on offense, turn up on defense, and somehow manage to stop Bijan Robinson as well. Now, must be noted, Guto, you were without your starting QB and your top wide receiver. So Drake London was doubtful, and then we got the news a couple of, well, barely hours before the game that he was out as well. So let's be honest, it was a wounded Falcons team. What were your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I missed the first half an hour of that game, and I shouldn't have watched any of it at all, to be honest. I should have just turned it off. Yeah, it wasn't an enjoyable watch at all. We, yeah, obviously we were missing Penix Jr., we were missing Drake London hours before the game. Drake Mooney was also out, and yeah, how did they stop Bijan Robinson? I mean, fair play to your defense. I applaud them. They've done really well against us. So, but yeah, it was a bit of a broken Falcons team, to be honest with you. But even so, I thought we still had the quality anyway. There's clearly some issues with our depth in the wide receiver room. If we're missing two of our star wide receivers, and Penix Jr., Kirk Cousins wasn't looking at it at all. He didn't look the part at all, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he looked out of
There's,
place, didn't he? He
he
just
did,
he did he
and
did he, it didn't seem on the same wavelength
no,
as his wide receivers at all. You had Kirk throwing them one way, and then the wide receivers were,
yeah.
well, running a different route. So yeah,
Yeah, it took a Tyler Algier rushing touchdown to finally get some points on the board. So pretty much says it all, really. Also, there was reports this week. Apparently, Kirk Cousins wants to potentially move for a QB1 position. After that results, and after that performance, I don't see anybody looking at him anytime soon. To be honest with you, so but they probably just reports. We'll wait and see what happens with that one. So the sooner we get Penix Jr., the sooner we get Drake London back, the better. News was broken just a couple of hours before we came on air in this one that Darnell Mooney is healthy. So that's a big
that's
plus.
good.
We've got a big game coming up on the weekend. Hopefully Drake London will be healthy. Hopefully Bijan Robinson will get his finger out of his ass and actually start running the ball properly. We're coming up against a 5-2 Patriots at the Gillette Stadium, so can't say I'm quite confident, but hopefully we'll get some more good news before the game and have our strongest team on that one. But very, very disappointing. Applaud to You know, how did Tua Tagovailoa, they're 1-6, and he beat the Falcons with one eye. What happened there? What happened with his injury?
So apparently, the reports were he woke up and he had some sort of viral infection. So basically, one side of his face was completely swollen.
Hmm.
Um, I know there was a lot of things kind of circulating that he went out the night before and he was beaten up in a bar and he got punched in the face, but it actually wasn't that at all. It was genuinely, apparently, it was a viral infection.
Hmm.
So you could see it looked like one side of his face was completely blown up and swollen. He wore a visor, so clearly that's all it takes, Guitar. I mean, he wore
Yeah.
the visor and he turned into a guy that doesn't turn the ball over. He threw three touchdowns, including a 45-yard touchdown to Jalen Waddle. We ran the ball really, really well. But Guitar, I'm not. Listen. I've been in this situation before with the Dolphins where they have one good game
Yeah.
where all of a sudden they put everything, all aspect together. For me, the mostly the most interesting part, or the thing that surprised me the most, wasn't even the offense. It was actually the defense, and the fact that we were coming into it. We had the worst run defense of the NFL, and we managed, like I said, to keep Bijan Robinson to under 25 yards through the whole game. So I take it was, do you know what? It was kind of one of those games where everything fell kindly to the Dolphins and everything went wrong for the Falcons. Bijan Robinson fumbled the ball before he was even tackled on one play. It was just a catalogue of mistakes. And I'm sure that they're not going to play as bad as that 2 games in a row. Because, Guitar, this is what I want to ask you, actually. Because, look, who are the 2025 Falcons? Are you the Falcons when you have, like you said, Penix and Drake London and Darnell Mooney back in the team? Are you the team that absolutely bulldozed the Buffalo Bills at home? Or, are you somewhere closer to kind of in between? Because obviously, like I said, it was kind of like a catastrophe of errors on Sunday. Kirk
Hmm.
Cousins, like I said, wasn't on the same wavelength as his wide receivers. And like I said, I mean, good luck to anyone who's going to look at that tape on Sunday and think that's a starting QB in the NFL.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I think that's wishful thinking on his part as well. So, I mean, it's hard to think what's the identity of the Atlanta Falcons? Do you think it's kind of, do you think the Falcons are somewhere in the middle and you're struggling with your consistency at the moment? Is that what it is?
Yeah, consistency has always been a problem with the Falcons. We sh On paper, we should be a team that's always pushing for the playoffs. That's
Mm,
been the case for the last 2 or 3 seasons, even with Arthur Smith as our head coach a few seasons ago. I do like Raheem Morris. A lot of Falcons fans are calling for him to get the sack as well.
yeah.
I think we should give him a full season at least. I think we should give him the 3 season. He's signed for 3 years. We should honour that. I personally think he's a decent coach. He's a
Mm,
good motivator as well. Um, we're just I don't want to use the word unlucky because it's the consistency that's the issue, and that's been an issue with the Falcons for the last 3 4 years. On paper, when our starters are all starting, we probably have the best offense on paper. And we proved against the Bills that we can compete against the top team. We even proved against the Buccaneers, even though we did
mm,
end up losing that game.
yeah.
We can still
Vi-
compete.
Vikings as well. Vikings
Yeah,
away.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. That was probably our best defense showing of the
Mm,
season so far. So, and yeah, it's just difficult with the Falcons because it's just that consistency. There's no, you know, there's no one line. It's just a massive wave, which unfortunately is what we're used to as Falcons fans. So,
mm,
but like you said, now we're at the halfway point of the NFL season, and I think for a lot of teams, this is where it's sort of make or break for them. They're going to have
yeah.
to start competing. They're going to have to start playing well, get all the players healthy. We don't have any major injuries. We don't have any season-ending injuries, such as the Giants, for example, such as the
Yeah.
Buccaneers with Mike Evans. So we're in a decent position. We might have players who are just a little bit unhealthy going into some games, but on paper, looking at this team, we should be competing for the playoffs every season for the last 3-4 years and beyond. We've got a very young defense as well, who's on the rise, I believe. So it's a Falcons team that has potential, but it just needs that consistency. That's the problem with us at the moment. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, we'll just have to take it week by week with this team, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'd be very, very interested to see if you're going to have a bounce back game, like you said, up in
Mhm.
Foxborough on Sunday against
Yeah.
the Patriots. I did notice that Drake May took an absolute beating last game.
Mm.
I think he's going to be healthy for the Patriots as well. But I mean, that's another team who's on the rise, Guto. Who thought that at the midpoint stage that the Patriots were going to be 5-2 as well? And
Yeah.
they're only one game behind the Bills at the top of the AFC East. Um, I knew that they were going to be a team on the rise. I never thought that Mike Vrabel was going to have this effect. Because the effect has been instant, and like you said, Drake May in the second year has been
Mm.
borderline, not quite MVP, but I'd say he's in the second tier. Absolutely, he's been absolutely lights out. To be fair with him,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, without a lot of weaponry around him, so it's even more impressive what he's doing. So we'll definitely keep an eye out on Sunday to see how the Falcons, or if the Falcons bounce back. You mentioned Cam Scaraboo.
Yeah.
That injury. It was a gruesome injury,
Mm.
and that was a massive gut punch to even if you're a neutral, all fans are on the NFL because the Giants, Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo, they've been an amazing story over the last couple of weeks, especially since Start has started, because they clearly have some chemistry, and
Yeah.
he's such a brilliant character as well. But yeah, really, really tough injury. I think he's gonna. Well, obviously he's out for the season because he's basically he's broken his ankle, and I think he's had surgery since Sunday as well. So that's another knock for the Giants. Obviously they didn't get run over by the Eagles. They kept it pretty close.
Mm.
But yeah, that injury is, like I said, it sucks for us all NFL fans, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. Yeah, no, terrible injury. It's a massive shame. Like I said, it's been a beautiful story for Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo on the New York Giants. Um, it's like even if you don't support the Giants, you want them to do well this season with the youngsters that we've got because they're just so excellent
Mm.
to watch. Even the wide receiver Malik Neighbors as well. Obviously, he was drafted
Yeah.
last season, but that was a big loss for them. And losing Scatterbo now as well, it's another blow for the Giants. So yeah, very disappointing. Very disappointing. And yeah, hopefully it won't weaken the players, Malik Neighbors or Cam Scatterbo. So and we can see them at the best next season with Jackson Dart because that's looking pretty exciting offense for next season at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Mm.
I don't know about you, but it just kind of like this season seems like an anomaly for me that there's been a lot of gruesome season-ending injuries. We think,
Yeah,
we're talking Scatterbo, Neighbours in the last couple of weeks. Mike Evans, like you noticed,
yeah,
Tyreek Hill, obviously, Joe Burrow. These are huge, huge marquee players
mm.
that have suffered season-ending injuries. I don't know. I just feel like we've had more this season than in any recent season anyway.
Yeah,
That has just completely changed the landscape of the NFL, and that's why I guess, especially in the AFC is wide open at the moment. We
yeah,
mentioned the Colts at the beginning, that they're 6-1. Um, but then apart from that, really, obviously you've got the Baltimore Ravens who are playing tonight, Thursday
mm.
night football. They're traveling to Miami. Actually, the Dolphins are playing the Ravens. Lamar Jackson has been out for a month. He's coming back. He's playing this evening, so he's coming back as well. So we've had two within one division. We've had Lamar and we've had Joe Burrow. Obviously, Joe Burrow out for the season, which is, like I said, the landscape has completely changed. The
Yeah,
Chiefs have lost. They lost three. at the beginning of 3 games at the beginning of the season. They had some injuries. They're starting to get rolling now, you sense. Chargers have had a lot of injuries on the O-line. So, yeah, the AFC, very, very exciting for the neutral, obviously.
Yeah.
Just seems, absolutely wide open.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's very exciting division now with the AFC. And with Lamar Jackson coming back tonight, even though they weren't on the weekend against the Chicago Bears,
Yeah.
second quarterback. So, but having Lamar Jackson back is a massive boost for the Ravens because they're not in a position that they want to be at the moment. They're 2-5, which is
Yeah, 2-5,
unlike the
yeah.
Ravens. So, yeah.
Although, on any other season, Guto, you'd think 2-5 would mean there's no chance for you to win the division. However,
Hmm.
you've got the Browns. Well, the Browns are the Browns. I think the Browns are 2-6 at the moment.
Yeah.
Rumors about Myles Garrett being traded by the end of the trade deadline, which is next Tuesday, and
Mhm.
the Cleveland Browns obviously have said that's absolutely no way in hell that's going to happen. That would probably take at least 3 first-round picks anyway, because he seems to be one of the best defensive players once again in the NFL at the moment. The Steelers are really, really stumbling. They can't seem to, obviously they suffered that big loss up well, it was supposedly Aaron Rodgers' revenge game up in Green Bay. So you had a stat, Gito, that you told me just before we pressed record, which was
So this would have been if Aaron Rodgers would have won this game, he would have defeated every team in the NFL, which I believe only a couple of players, Hall of Famers, have actually done. So Aaron Rodgers has defeated every team apart from one, which was his old team, the Green Bay Packers. So he was unable to do the job in Green Bay in his return to Green Bay. So no,
to
it didn't
Lambeau,
happen unfortunately for him in his last season as well. So, but it would for him he would have loved to get that done. But
I think a lot of Green Bay Packers fans, Gito, would probably say that's justice.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I think so.
Some notable wins, Gito. We had 2 teams having their first wins of the season. One of them being the Jets. That was absolutely crazy. I think it was a 21-point comeback, fourth quarter comeback. I think I looked over and the Bengals were home and dry. And then all of a sudden, I saw that the Jets had won 39-38. The Bengals, another team who are they're pretty much done in terms of their season. I believe they 3-5 or 2-6 as well. No, maybe 3-6 as well. So they're really, really struggling as well. So if the Ravens could get a victory tonight, obviously I hope that they don't. That the Dolphins could get 2 on the bounce. But with Lamar back and the Ravens coming off, like you said, a win from against Chicago, I don't know. It's going to be really, really tough on Thursday Night Football. So yeah, the Jets having their first win of the season as well. And our player of the week, Guto, without doubt, I think this was an easy one. Coming off a bye, by the way, the Buffalo Bills under Josh Allen have never lost coming off the bye, and they absolutely steamrolled the Panthers, who seem to be in disarray once again. So James Cook, he rushed for over 200 yards, I believe.
Yeah, let me get this up for you quickly, Dyfed, just before here we go. So 216 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, which is unbelievable numbers after 19 carries as well. James Cook, that was an easy decision for our player of the week and an impressive win against the Panthers as well.
Yeah. Shout outs to who else did we consider as players of the week, Guitar? I can't even remember off the top of my head.
We have a couple of them. Let me just get the notes here.
I think it was Jamar Chase was maybe one of them, maybe.
Jordan Love had a good game, I believe.
Oh, Jordan Love, yeah.
But there was a
Jonathan Taylor, I think, was another one for the Colts.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor, I believe, is leading all running backs in rushing yards followed by Bijan, I believe, although his 25 yards didn't help him last Sunday. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, my God, and the Indianapolis Colts, they just keep, they keep rolling, don't they? And obviously, I understand that they played against the Titans, who have just sacked their coach. In the last couple of weeks, Brian Callahan has been fired, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, I think the same thing, unfortunately, Guto, as we said about last week about the Colts. Wait until they beat one of the top teams, and then I'll jump on the train, on the gravy train per se, because um, even the poor mediocre teams, I think they're good enough. Like I said, they've got one of the best running backs in the NFL at the moment. They've got Daniel Jones, who's playing the football of his life at the moment, just literally being a game manager. He's passing to Anthony Pierce, James Downs, all of these players as well. He's got a few weapons out there, and the defense are absolutely balling over there in Indianapolis as well.
Yeah.
So, any other notable wins for you, Guitar, on the weekend apart from the Jets?
Just before we get to that quickly, you were talking
Oh yeah,
about jumping on the bandwagon for the Colts
yeah,
when they beat. Can I give you a quick rundown of the remaining games in the NFL and tell
yes,
you what you
please
think?
do, please do. Yeah,
Okay, so the Steelers this weekend,
okay.
Falcons in Berlin, the Chiefs, the Texans, Jaguars, Seahawks, 49ers, Jaguars again, and Texans again. Those are their remaining games.
Oh, that is brutal. So obviously a lot. So they have to play the Texans and the Jaguars twice.
Yep. Yep. So they've got Steelers
So
this weekend, of course.
off the top of my head, Guitar, I probably only counted two or three top wins there, tops.
2 or 3 wins.
Yeah,
Wow.
honestly,
Mm, okay. Yeah, obviously, I don't see them beating the Chiefs.
no.
The
I, I
Steelers, we've
Falcon.
got them beating the Steelers this weekend.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, Steelers. Yeah, I guess. But
yeah,
it's in Pittsburgh, isn't it? I think.
it's in Pittsburgh. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then
So
next week it's the Berlin game against us, the Falcons.
anything can happen in an international game, Gito. You
Of
never
course,
know. Look,
of course.
if the Falcons come off and take the win over New England on Sunday, it's an even playing field once again. And like I said, international games are strange. They're weird.
Yeah.
Um, because I believe this is probably their first time. The Colts, I don't believe, have played an international game, or not in the last couple of years anyway.
Not that I
So,
remember. No.
everything has changed. You're dealing with jet lag and things like that, and conditions outside of your control. So, I wouldn't put that down as an easy win. Like you said, they're playing the Chiefs. The Jaguars have been, started the season really, really well. The
Yeah.
Texans have all of a sudden seemed to have turned a corner
Mm.
as well. So they could, even if they split those series, even if they win 2 games and they lose 2 games against the Jags and the Texans, honestly, I see 4 wins maximum out of the last 8 or 9 games. So that leaves them, what, 9, 10, 10 wins, which ultimately might not be enough to win the division in the end.
Yeah, yeah. It would be a bit of a shame, a little fall from grace for them if they don't end up winning a
Yeah,
lot of their remaining games, and they only
yeah,
end up with 10 because they're 7-1 now. So
yes.
to win the next few games, they'll have to win more to be able to compete at the top of the playoffs. So, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah,
But it's a fun story to watch at the moment with the Colts,
it
definitely.
is. It really is.
Other
It
notable
really is.
fixtures, we predicted correctly last week that the Broncos would beat the Cowboys, and we also predicted that the Chiefs would beat the Commanders, but the Chiefs
Hmm.
defeated the Commanders in a pretty fashionable way, to be honest with you. They were the best team the whole game. The Commanders didn't
Yeah,
really have much of a chance, to be honest, even without Jane Daniels, of course. But
yeah. It was
the
Mariota
Chiefs,
again, wasn't it?
they're back on track, and I don't see them slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah,
Although we do have them playing at one of our 5 of the week, so which we will get back to later on.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think they've won 3 in a row, looking at like a completely different offense since Rashee Rice has come back from his from his suspension.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce all of a sudden is catching balls,
Yeah.
scoring touchdowns once again. Not that he's back to the old Travis Kelce, obviously, but at least he's effective. He's a part of their offense now. The
Yeah.
only thing that's going to help, the only thing that could make that offense even better is if they have an established run game, Guto. And which leads us on to nicely to some trade rumors.
Mm.
Obviously, we noted the trade deadline is next Tuesday, I believe, or Wednesday. I can't remember. I think it's Tuesday. But anyway, let me take you through some of the notable names that have been associated with trades. Quite big names, I have to say. This one, I think we mentioned actually during free agency, ultimately didn't happen. But AJ Brown, he
Mm.
seems to be done with the Philadelphia Eagles. His role has diminished. It seems to be that Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith is getting the majority of the plays thrown towards them, and AJ seems to be a forgotten thought now,
Yeah.
and clearly has stated that he would be maybe open to a trade. Where he would go to, I have absolutely no idea. I think our good friend of the pod, Johan, during our free agency episode back in March, uh, maybe said that the Patriots could be
Mm.
in for a wide receiver. Now that they're 5-2, I think that's a perfect fit for them there. They
Mm.
definitely need a number one. And the other one, Gitta, is Breece Hall. So the running back from the Jets. So obviously the Jets being 1-7, what are they? 1-6 or 1-7?
Yeah.
You'd kind of think they've already made a trade. By the way, cornerback Michael Carter has been traded to the Eagles. They received John Mechie in return, a wide receiver. However, their top running back Breece Hall seems to be on the chopping block as well. He's coming off, by the way, a game where he rushed for 163 yards, I believe,
Mm.
against the Bengals. So a lot of people have said, wouldn't he fit well in with the Kansas City offense? So
Wow.
that's something to watch as well.
Mm.
The Chiefs might be in for a running back. In the market for a running back, and like I said, maybe watch the Patriots for AJ Brown as well. So those are the two notable ones for me, anyway, so far.
Yeah. Quick note on AJ Brown. I've watched quite a bit of him because obviously Sky Sports will be showing a lot of Eagles game
Yeah.
this season, so I've seen quite a bit of AJ Brown, and he had a bit of a slow start to the season. It took him a couple of games to actually score a touchdown. I thought he started to show his spark a little bit during week 3, 4, or 5, whatever, but he started to slow down again, and looks like the Eagles, they're throwing elsewhere or whatever, so he's not getting much of the ball as of recently. So he did have a bit of a slow start, in my opinion.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Patriots would be a really good fit for AJ Brown. I think they are, even though they shopped really well, the Patriots during the off season for wide receivers. I do like the Stephon Diggs move, I really do. But I think adding someone of AJ Brown's caliber to the team would excel them even more, and
Absolutely.
make them a dangerous Lions. Uh, if Falcons had some money, I'd probably have him as a Falcons as well, to have him side by side with London and Mooney. That would have been an epic trio right there. But yeah, I don't see anything happening with us anytime soon. So there we go. But yeah, I will be keeping a close eye on the AJ Brown situation. I really will. I think that's definitely because there's not been any other major movements apart from the ones that you just spoke about
That we noted. Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
Jets. The Bears signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson from the Houston Texans. That's another one
Hmm.
that might be worth noting as well. So,
Yeah.
but with the deadline being next week, it's not a whole lot of movement at the moment.
Another thing to note, to watch out for actually is, well, we've been hearing for a couple of weeks now, on the Dolphins side of things, that especially if we lose tonight and we go to 2-7, uh, one, if not two, of our defensive ends are going to be on the chopping block. That is either Bradley Chubb or or Jalen Phillips. I hope that they wouldn't trade away Jalen Phillips because we drafted him 4 years ago. He's dealt with an Achilles injury, a torn ACL, and he's finally coming back now, and he's looking like his old self. Chubb again suffered an ACL injury or he didn't play last season, so he suffered an ACL tear the season before in 2023. He was a Pro Bowl caliber player back then. So he would probably we'd get a 5 in return for Chubb. Maybe we would get a 3 or a 4 in return for Jalen Phillips as well. But it's all going to come down to our record, Guto. If the
Yeah,
Dolphins keep losing, I honestly, apart from only a few people on the Dolphins roster, everyone is going to be available.
yeah,
We've heard a lot of true rumors about Jalen Waddle being available. I hope with all my heart that doesn't happen. But the one for me that I hope that is not traded is our star running back Devon Achane, because I think he's the real deal. He's only 23. We need to build around him. Honestly, I really, really hope that he doesn't get targeted in this window as well. So yeah, like I said, things are going to be heating up, especially after these slate of games. Watch out Monday and Tuesday. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of dealing done before the end of the trade deadline on Tuesday.
yeah.
Amongst all this, just before we get to our 5 of the week, Guitar, there has been an extension,
Mhm.
and turns out it's for a lot of money. It's the biggest extension outside of a QB, basically.
Yeah, the most guaranteed money for a non-quarterback in the league as well. Maybe deservedly so. He's an excellent player for the Detroit Lions. It's probably it was probably worth the wait, to be honest. If it would have happened by now, it should have happened a few weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson with a 4-year, 180 million deal, 141 mil guaranteed. So, yeah, it's a big money move right there for Aiden Hutchinson. He's been with the Lions for quite a few seasons. He's an excellent player, like
Yeah.
I said, for his position, and yeah, probably worth all the money for the Lions. The Lions fans would be happy with that one.
Yeah, he's done really well since coming on because he suffered a horrendous broken leg, if you remember,
Hmm.
around not last season, the season before.
Yeah,
And obviously with a gruesome injury, you never know if they're gonna regain their strength. Are they gonna be the same player after such a serious injury? But to be fair, he's lived up to the hype as well. So yeah, he's absolutely worth the deal, especially with with these deals in the NFL. It seems to like if you're a top 5 player, you're going to reset the market whatever
yeah,
happens anyway.
hmm,
I think Myles Garrett was the highest paid defensive player before now. So yeah, it only makes sense that the next in line is Aiden Hutchinson, a top five defensive player, a defensive end rather, in the NFL at the moment, without a shadow of a doubt.
yeah.
It was noted, Gito. I did notice that I did miss not watching the Lions last week because they were on a bye. Honestly, they are outside of the Dolphins. They're probably the and maybe the Chiefs. They're the team that I look forward to watching the most in the NFL every single
Hmm.
week. And it happens to be that I have 2 or 3 of them in my fantasy league as well, in my fantasy team as well. And I dropped the ball last week, honestly, on my fantasy league. I had 5 or 6 players out on buys, so I just took the hit there, and I was like, okay, we're moving on to next week. So yeah, we're going to talk about. Do you know what? That's a lovely segment talking about the Detroit Lions. Guitar. They are going to be featured in our 5 of the week. Let's
Hmm.
start off with the Lions coming off a bye, traveling to the Minnesota Vikings. Their backup QB Carson Wentz has suffered a season-ending injury,
Yeah,
so it's going to be JJ McCarthy now for the remainder of the season. The Vikings are in quite a tough place at the moment. They're going through a pretty tricky period in the season. So Lions. I believe this is in Minnesota. Guto, remind me.
I will just double check quickly. I've completely lost the page.
Oh, sorry.
I'm panicking. I'm panicking. I am panicking.
Don't worry.
Here we
But
go.
anyway,
Well,
yeah, the line,
it's
the line,
in. It
line.
will be in Detroit in Ford Field.
Oh, goodness me. Well, that makes it even easier to call then. I mean,
Yeah.
I was gonna call the Lions, even if it was in Minnesota as well. A
Yeah.
divisional game, obviously. Last year, this would have been a very tasty matchup.
Yeah.
However, this year, oh,
Yeah.
I think this could potentially get nasty. This could get, out of hand. Um, Detroit on the game, like we've seen many a turn this season and over the last couple of seasons. If they turn up, if they're on their game, the Detroit Lions will score a minimum of 35 points, if not 40. So
Yeah.
if the Vikings are not careful here, they could get absolutely trounced.
Yeah. This will be the icing on the cake for Aiden Hutchinson, who just signed a big contract, having a win
Yes.
here against the Minnesota Vikings, who are 4-3, but they're not quite looking the part at the moment. So, and obviously Carson Wentz being injured as well. I think this will be the
Yeah.
return of JJ McCarthy, if I'm not correct.
Yeah. I believe it
Yeah.
will be.
So,
Yeah.
but this will be a tough test in Ford Field
Yeah.
against the Detroit Lions. So, like I said, I enjoy watching Detroit Lions as well.
Yeah.
And quickly mention this should have been the championship game last season, to be honest. But they both exited in their first try
Yeah.
when they reached the playoffs, shockingly. So, but there we go. So yeah, we've got the Lions winning this one for our first of the 5 of the week. The second game, the team that we just spoke about earlier, is the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going up against the
Yes.
Buffalo Bills in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I mentioned that the Chiefs are back on track, but I don't see them beating the Bills. I've got the Bills winning this one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
The Bills always seem to beat the Chiefs in the regular season, but
yeah,
obviously the Bills, they have the curse of the off season in the playoffs.
yeah.
They can't seem to beat the Chiefs. Even if it's in the divisional round or the AFC Championship game, they can't beat the Chiefs. So
Pardon me.
I think this is going to be closer than people imagine. Um, However, I'm still going to shade it to the Bills, them being at home, coming off a blowout victory against the Panthers. Uh, I'll be looking out though for the Bills' defense
Mm,
this week. Because let's be honest, with all due respect, the Panthers weren't really troubling them on defense at all last week. Um, Quite embarrassing turnout actually for the Panthers. Whereas the Chiefs have been rolling, and especially they've got their weapons back. Kelsey's back on form. Rashee Rice is there. Xavier Worthy is back. Fit now. Tyquan Thornton as well. If they can find, if they, it's going to be interesting if the Chiefs attempt to run the ball at all, or are they going to be happy with spreading the ball out wide, and ultimately as well Mahomes using his legs as well, because that's such an understated part of his game. I think is Mahomes scrambling. I think he's
yeah.
so good, and he tends to use it a lot more away from home. So that's going to be a fascinating watch, Guto. If I'm not sure if it's a 6 o'clock game or if it's a 9 o'clock or if it's Sunday night. It would
Half
make
past
sense
nine.
that it's 9:30.
Yeah,
Perfect. There we are. I will. That would be my Sunday slate game, because obviously the Dolphins are playing this evening, which
yeah,
obviously I'm going to wait up for. And it almost helps. It helps as well that the hour has gone back here in Wales, in the UK. So the slated games are 1 hour before what it usually is. So it'll
mm,
be 8 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock. But anyway, yeah. So Bills over Chiefs in a close game. So we've already mentioned the Colts. So
yeah.
the Colts are traveling to Pittsburgh, Guitar. So Pittsburgh, end of October, it's going to be cold. It might be damp. However, both of us have agreed that we've still got the Colts here to win.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is, well, he's played in the NFL for over 20 years, but is he used to be playing in the cold for so long? With the
Yeah, if he played in Green Bay, then
Well, that's true.
obviously,
Yeah.
yeah. I was
My
gonna say
geography isn't my strongest point.
you've got some of the worst snowstorms up in Green Bay and Lambeau as well. It was yeah, that's one of the trickiest places to go because obviously you're not in a dome. You're right on top. Up on top by the lake. So yeah, yeah. So if anything, I'd say Aaron Rodgers is well used to playing in the cold.
Mm.
Um, so, but yeah. I don't know. The Steelers at home. This is the only thing that makes me uncomfortable with this. With saying that the Colts will win. The Colts obviously have all the momentum, don't they? However, the
You do.
Steelers,
Yeah.
although they look so out of whack, out of sorts, last week at Lambeau, and especially on the road, I could see them pulling this off as well at home against the Colts. It all depends if they're going to be able to stop the run, because if they can't stop Jonathan Taylor, ultimately I do see Indianapolis winning this game.
Third, I'm going to give you one chance here. Should we do a NFL Cymru first and change our prediction mid five of the week to the Steelers? I'm going to give you one opportunity because whatever you pick, I'll agree.
Uh, no, no,
Will we
let's
stick with
stick
the
with the
Colts?
Colts. I think we're
Okay.
going to stick with the Colts. Yeah, I'm going to stick with the team
Yeah.
that's got the momentum, and like I
Yeah.
said, I think with that running game. Oh, yeah, I
Mm.
see Jonathan Taylor doing damage there.
Yeah.
Let's stick with the Colts until the Colts lose.
Yeah.
Let's stick with the Colts. Put it that
Yeah.
way.
Okay. Well,
If you're happy to do that,
yeah, spot on. I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'll be
okay,
looking forward to watching this game now. Actually, I think
absolutely.
this is a Sky Sports game as well, I believe. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
great,
this is gonna be a
absolutely.
good watch. So we've got the Colts winning this one. Next game, it's not the other two games. Yeah, we should have brought these ones first, to be honest with you. But there we go. Cowboys
Yeah,
against the Cardinals and Broncos against the Texans.
yeah. Cowboys over Cardinals. So Kyler Murray, I believe, is going to be back for the Cardinals, who have been struggling of late. They lost against Tennessee a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
Cowboys are very up and down. They can be explosive. They can be very, very poor on defense. They lost last week against the Broncos, I believe, which we called.
we did. Yeah. I won't be
Um,
surprised if this game is going to be a high scoring game just because of the poor defense, but the great offense from the Texans. I see this
yeah,
one being a massive scoreline, to be honest with you.
yeah, yeah. And so I think the Cowboys are at home in this one as well.
The Cowboys are at home. Yes.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, it makes no difference because both teams are playing in a dome anyway. So, like I said, obviously conditions aren't going to be an issue, so they are going to throw the ball around. But yeah, ultimately the home team, George Pickens has been an absolute revelation for Dallas this year.
Yeah.
Um, the defensively stiff defensive side of the ball, the Cowboys have been pretty poor, but so have so have the Cardinals as well. The Cardinals, obviously, I think it's going to take a while for Kyler Murray. I don't see him coming straight back into the starting lineup and having immediate chemistry with Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, their tight end as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think our safer bet is to go with the Cowboys winning at home here.
Yeah. Agree with you. We'll go with the Cowboys in this one. I do see this one being a high scoring game
Yeah.
just because I think the Cowboys are very good, have a good offense, but not a great defense. So which could be
Mm.
exploited quite easily for some teams. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to go with the Cowboys in this one. And finally, this might be an interesting game with the Texans
Mm.
coming from a win against the 49ers,
Mm.
against the Broncos, who have won two or three in a row at the moment. So, and they've
Yeah, this
beaten the
is
Eagles, they've beaten the Giants, they've beaten the Cowboys. So they're getting a pretty good roll at the moment, the Broncos.
but yeah, so are the Texans as well, though.
Mm.
They've had some sort of like mid season renaissance as well.
Yeah,
And this is at Houston as well. I think Houston are at home in this game.
in Houston. Yes.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, it's whether the Broncos defense again can turn up. If they do, I trust them enough. Although, Guto, I believe that the Broncos are going to be without their star cornerback Pat Surtain in this game.
Okay.
We'll see how much that's going to affect them. I believe he's going to be out for a couple of weeks with an AC joint sprain, so his shoulder. It's not
Yeah.
season ending, and I don't think he's going on IR even. So I think he's going to be out for at least 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, I don't know. This is really a 50-50 game for me. Texans on offense haven't been great this season, I have to say. CJ
No.
Stroud hasn't lived up to his first couple of seasons in the NFL. He's kind of almost he's taken a few steps back to me, and he's almost like he's kind of falling into the background.
Yeah.
Bo Nix has been solid, especially of late with 2 rushing touchdowns, I believe, in the last couple of games. So yeah, I think we're going this based on the strength of the defense and the
Yeah.
coaching, maybe. So I think we've got the Broncos edging this. Do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy with the Broncos in this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what I've seen from the Broncos this season, especially in the last few games, the last 3 or 4 games. They remind me a bit of the Buccaneers. They just clutch. They've been quite clutch towards the end of the game as
Yeah.
well, especially that game against
Yeah.
the Giants. That was an exceptional watch, that one. But
That was
to
wild.
defeat
Yeah.
the Eagles as well, and coming up against the Cowboys as well, which they've when they played excellently well as well. So it's been a good watch watching the Broncos, and I'm a massive fan of Bo Nix as well. He's an excellent quarterback. He's
Yeah.
it's a very good story for the Broncos this season as well. They can go further than they did last season, I believe. I think they should anyway.
Well, do you think it does? Because at this point, I think if we look at the standings in terms of the AFC East, the AFC West, I believe we would currently have 3 teams from the AFC West in the playoffs. Because we've got the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Chiefs all with 5-3 records, if not better.
Yeah. Do you want to see? I've got the playoff picture after week 8 here for you if you want to go through it really quickly.
Go for
So
it.
the AFC, so Colts number 1, obviously.
Yeah.
The Patriots are number 2.
Yeah. Not surprised.
Broncos 3rd. The Steelers are 4th.
Yeah.
The Bills are 5th. The Chargers are 6th, and the Chiefs are 7th.
Okay, so you've got 3 from the AFC West
Yeah.
in there as well.
And then the NFC, the Green Bay Packers are number 1. They've taken over Buccaneers, who had that spot for a good few weeks. They've dropped down to 3rd, the Buccaneers, because they've got the Eagles in 2nd. So Green Bay, Eagles, Buccaneers. The Seahawks are 4th. They've been quite quiet, but they're still getting the wins this season, the Seahawks.
Yeah. I think the Seahawks are only there on top of their division because the Rams had a bye, I think, coming off their London
That's a
game.
good shout. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's gonna be definitely between the Seahawks and the Rams for the West there.
Yeah.
But sorry, carry on.
So Seahawks 4th, the Lions 5th, Rams 6th, and 49ers 7th.
God, the Lions aren't even atop of their division, aren't they? Wow,
They're
that's
not,
mad.
no.
So what if you remind me what's the Packers? Are the Packers, what are they, 6-2 at the moment?
The Green Bay Packers, I've got it
They
here.
must be,
for
because
you.
I believe the Detroit Lions are 5-2.
The Green Bay Packers are 5-1-1.
5-1-1. Of course, they had that tie, didn't they?
Yeah. The Panthers
Okay,
they're playing Panthers, who are 4-4. Which I don't like that. I don't like that.
So the Packers are 5-1-1, and the Lions are 5-2.
Lions are 5-2. Yes.
5-2. Okay. Right. Yeah. So that's going to be. So ultimately, we can't wait. Probably going to be one of the games of the season is the rematch of the Packers and the Lions game at Ford Field. That could be for the division potentially whenever that is in the
Yeah,
schedule.
yeah,
Um, that's going to be one of the tastiest ones. So yeah, so obviously, so yeah, so the Eagles are obviously running away with the NFC West. Sorry, the NFC East, because the Giants, um, and the Commanders have been well. They've been injury struck. They've been injury struck, haven't they? The Giants obviously have lost a few, and then who else have we got in terms of close? Oh yeah, and then the West is definitely one to watch between the Seahawks and the Rams as well. The Rams are going really, really well, coming off a
yeah,
blowout victory in London, aren't they?
yeah.
So I believe the Rams are playing the Titans, I believe, this week. If my memory is correct, I should have the
No, the
schedule in front of me.
Rams are playing the New Orleans Saints
Oh, okay, okay. So another
with
one-win team.
with
Okay.
their new starting quarterback Tyler Shuck.
Tyler Shaw, yes, absolutely. So
Uh,
yeah, didn't see that coming. I mean, I don't know how bad, if Spencer Rattler has really played that poorly, if I'm honest. I know that he
he,
was benched in the
yeah,
last game.
I watched a bit of the game against the Buccaneers. The blowout, to be fair, it was 23-3 in New Orleans
Yeah.
in the end. And Spencer Rattler, he threw a pretty bad interception, to be honest with you, to the point
Okay.
where the defense even just pushed him out of the way for the touchdown because it was quite close. It was in the red. It was in their 10 yards anyway. So even the defense just caught and just like pushed him out of the way like a bully, and just dropped him on the floor, and he just walked backwards. So it was a terrible interception to throw. So
Mm.
and obviously with the season that they're having so far, we'll be winning just that one game. I think they have to shake it up a little bit and bring. So that's where they've gone with Tyler Shuck as their new QB1
Tyler
for this
Shaw.
game against the
Yeah.
Rams.
Yeah.
But I don't see them doing much damage against the Rams, to be honest with you.
No, no. We early in the season we witnessed Jackson Dart winning on his first start as an NFL QB. Uh, I don't see I yeah, unfortunately I don't see the Saints winning against the Rams, and the Rams are rolling at the moment. And I'm not sure if Puka Nacua is going to be back for this game as well. I don't think he is. I think he's still out for this game. I don't.
Um,
I haven't seen anything noted
well,
around the
um,
NFL.
this has been reported literally 8 minutes ago. Puka
Yeah,
Nacua fully practiced today. So he's been in
there we
practice.
go.
So there's a decent chance where we might actually see Puka Nacua back in action.
Decent chance that he is going to be back.
Um,
So
yeah,
that's not the best news for the Saints fans to hear that Puka
no,
Nacua is back as well.
no.
So,
If you're
however,
interested
without
as
Puka,
well, yeah. If sorry to interrupt, but if you're interested as well, Brock Purdy was limited in practice today as well.
okay, okay.
Yeah, with a
Oh,
toe in.
That's such a weird situation over there, Guto. What Mac Jones, Brock Purdy. I
Yeah.
genuinely don't know who. If you were a San Francisco fan, who would you rather? Because Mac Jones has been either playing very, very well or
Mm.
extremely poor. You don't
Yeah.
you don't really have a middle kind of game with him, and they're coming off a rough loss last weekend, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess Brock Purdy would probably get the start over Mac Jones, depending if he was if he was able to practice. So even if he's limited, maybe they're gonna have to wait a week extra before he comes back as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a very funny situation there in 49ers. Who are they playing this weekend? Let's have a quick look who they're playing this weekend. The 49ers. Oh, I believe they're on a bye week actually. So, oh no,
Oh,
they're
they
not. I'm lying
no.
to. They are away to the New York Giants.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, good chance for them to get a game back there then against the
Yeah,
Giants, who are gonna yeah they're without a lot of their weapons obviously.
yeah, yeah.
So we'll see how Jackson Dart will deal with that injury crisis over there. Gito, I believe we've covered everything. Do you have anything else to add before we end this episode?
No, I believe we are good. We are good. We've got
Excellent.
week 9 coming up. So, how are you
Yeah.
feeling about tonight's game, David?
Honestly, I genuinely don't know. It's it's hard on a short week, Guto, because neither team have been able to practice. They've only had like walkthroughs the
Hmm.
last couple of days. Um, Injury wise, the Ravens, like I said, the Ravens are pretty much back to their full strength squad now, especially with Lamar back. So that does scare me, I have to say, and Derrick
Yeah.
Henry as well, starting to kind of regain his form. So yeah, I don't know. It all depends, Gitter, if our defense turns up.
Yeah.
If we manage to stop the run like we did with Bijan last week, if we manage to stop Lamar and Derrick Henry from running riot over us, we could potentially keep this close. And then again on the Dolphins side, on the offensive side, are we able to run the ball? Because that's what we did effectively last game. We came out and we shocked the Falcons. By the way, Gitter, I wasn't expecting this. Mike McDaniel came out and he did a lot of 6 offensive lineman sets. So they added
Hmm.
an extra offline O lineman, took one tight end off the field. So it's like a jumbo package basically.
Hmm.
And we used, instead of only using Achan as a running back, we used 3 running backs. So we used Ollie Gordon and Jalen Wright as well. So I don't know. Hopefully, Mike McDaniel's going to cook up something. The game is starting at 12:15 here, so only a couple of hours to wait to get to. I'll be waiting anxiously for the beginning of that game. That's all I
Hmm.
ask is for the Dolphins to keep it close. As long
Yeah.
as as long as it's not a blowout, I'll be happy. Even if we lose this game, but like I said, the last time the Dolphins and the Ravens played on a Thursday night game was 2 years ago, and the Dolphins actually won 21 points to 10 with Lamar as well, and they just blitzed him all over the shop, and he didn't know what to do. He was literally scampering all over the field. And I don't know if he's going to be rusty as well. He hasn't played for a month, so could be, or he could be back to vintage Lamar as well. So
Hmm.
yeah, only time will tell. Gito. So we will wait eagerly for Thursday night football, Ravens at Dolphins, coming up in the next 2 hours or so. So
Yeah.
there we are. Like we said, we've covered week 9. Um, like I said, halfway through the season, things from now on. Now we'll probably see, as the weather turns colder, as the nights turn darker. Now we see who the legitimate franchises around the NFL are going to step up and make their mark towards the end of the regular season, and are going to set themselves up to become a playoff team, if not win their divisions. So yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to ramp things up. By the way, we are going to have a special guest on our episode next week. A returning special guest, actually. So you watchers amongst you will probably be able to potentially guess which one. So actually, we might be having guests for the next 2 weeks. Hopefully we can get that done. But we're definitely getting a special guest back next week, and that'll be lovely to have his or her insight.
Hmm.
So there we are. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Gito, have you got any plans? Any plans this weekend?
Oh, it's Halloween weekend, isn't it? So,
It is. It's Halloween. Yeah.
gonna have to find an outfit to dress up for Saturday night. So we'll wait
Go
and
out trick
see.
or treating all over the town in Portelli. Yeah, yeah,
Definitely won't be any trick or treating. So, but yeah, no, yeah, that's all for me really. Apart from that, bit of a quiet weekend. You going anywhere special,
yeah.
David? Any?
Yeah, well, I won't be dressing up, but my son will definitely be dressing up. We've got him his first Dracula outfit, so I'll have
Yes,
to let you know how that one goes. And then
yes,
on
no,
Saturday, I am off to London, so I'm going to London for the first time this season. I have got a game, so I am following Swansea. Swansea are playing Charlton, so that's where I'll be all day Saturday.
cool.
So yeah, that's my weekend. And obviously the Dolphins are playing tonight, so they won't be playing on Sunday. So I will definitely be watching the Bills and the Chiefs. And I might watch the Lions game as well. We'll see. We'll see if I stay up for that one. So there we are. Thank you very much for watching. comment, like, share. Guto, by the way, shout out. You'll probably notice when this episode drops, has implemented a new intro, and we've got a new badge as well, Guto. So props to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, a little bit of style to our podcast.
A new logo.
I think
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
needed.
Like I said,
Yeah,
we're slowly ramping things up in terms of quality as well. So so yeah, we're just trying to tweak a few things here on the NFL Cymru podcast. This podcast will probably be up in the next 24 hours. Watch it on YouTube. We're on socials on X/Twitter and Instagram as well. Connect with us if you want to come on the pod. If you just want to come and say hi, please drop us a note. We will get back to you as soon as possible. So look out for next week's episode where we'll have, like I said, a returning guest. We look forward to that. Guto, thank you very much, Diolch yn fawr iawn, for your time. We will see you next week.